What's going on, guys? This is Greg back with the Super 6. Hope everybody's doing well and staying safe these days. Just want to check in with you guys and give you the results of the iBox Sportline lowering springs install. I actually finished the install about 2 weeks ago, maybe a little longer than that, maybe closer to 3 weeks ago. But I'm just now getting around to shooting the video. So yeah, got a little busy last week. We're starting back to work, but got it done, and wanted to reveal to you guys today what it looks like, and I hope you guys like it. And so here it is. I think it came out very, very nice. It actually gave me the drop that I wanted. I didn't want it to go too low. As you can see, that wheel gap is gone now. And before, I was able to fit my entire fist in here. Was able to fit my entire fist in that wheel well. But now, 2 fingers. And then in the front, like a finger and a half or 1 finger. I was able to fit my hand in there. So the wheel gap is no more. I think it got what it needed. And that was one of the things that it was lacking, one of the main things it was lacking to complete the overall look that I wanted. It has really come together really nice. Again, I went with the Sportline lowering springs, which supposedly drops it a little lower than the Pro Kit. I've seen some Pro Kit results on some chargers and they look great. I think the difference is if you have, those were actually on scat packs and higher trim levels. If you do the Pro Kit usually works better for those upper trim levels, the scat packs, so they sit a little lower to start with. But this model here, this is an SE, so these actually are the highest sitting models. So with the Sportline, it dropped it right where I wanted it to be. And I didn't want the wheel well to come all the way down over the tire, you know, to where it was almost covering it. I didn't like that. But it came out really good. I did have a concern before I actually decided on the Sportline kit, was that it was going to be dropped either too low or the Pro Kit wasn't going to drop it low enough. So it put it right where I wanted it. And I think it turned out really nice. Shout out to my man Garage Driven, Paul down there in Florida. His video was one of the videos I referenced when I was doing this install. And also the other video was from Modern Muscle. I think they do videos, iBox installation videos on Challengers and Mustangs and things like that. So those are the 2 videos that I referenced when I was doing the install. So I was back and forth between that. So if you're thinking about doing this install, then I would certainly look at those 2 videos. There's a host of other videos on there that you can reference. So I got a little something from all those videos to kind of help me with the install. Then again, it was challenging. It's a simple process, as I mentioned before, but it wasn't simple to carry out. You know, like I said, it just depends on having the right tools and whether or not, you know, your bolts will cooperate with you. But I got it done, man. But it took me, I worked on it for 2 days. So if you're going to do this job, you want to allot for, you know, having the right tools and everything you need, and maybe an extra person. I would allot for really the whole day, like 6 hours. But for me by myself, and I did take my time, so I had the time to do it, and I took my time and did it myself. So it took me a lot longer. I think I did one day. It took me 1.5 days. It took me to do the front, and then the other couple of days I did the back. So I was just kind of taking my time and making sure I had everything on there. So if you're going to do this job, then make sure that you have the right tools. Okay. So what I want to show you is is a couple of the front springs. This is my stock spring, and this is a spring that came out of the SXT Rally. And I got that spring from a suspension set a buddy of mine gave me when he upgraded his Charger to coils. And I had a hood, and I traded him out my old hood for his suspension, but I never used it. But as you can see, the difference between the Rally, the SXT Rally suspension front springs and the regular stock SE base model springs, just a whole lot different, whole lot longer here. So as you can see, the Sportline springs is what you want to go with. Now, if you have the Rally package on your SXT Charger, or you're riding in you're driving a Scat Pack or a higher trim level, I'm not sure about the RTs, and where they sit. They look actually closer to where mine sat, but I would go definitely with the with either the Pro Kit on the Scat Packs, because they already sit a little lower than mine. So the Sportline brought mine down to where it actually made up the difference in how that sat. And so huge difference, man. I didn't really know that. So if you got a SXT Rally, then you're already sitting a little lower than what mine would have done. So I would probably go with the Pro Kit for that one, and then Sportline if yours is sitting a little higher, if you have an SE or a base model trim. But yeah, man, so just make sure, it's a tough job. Make sure you have the right tools. I just brought a couple of tools along with me to kind of show you what you're going to need. You're going to need a regular ratchet and a host of sockets in a regular set. And you're going to definitely need, this is what a pass-through socket looks like. So you'll need this pass-through socket to get on the bolts, and then you'll have a way in the middle to twist this other bolt or other screw that's inside of this one, or vice versa. So you'll definitely need one of these, and a host of sockets, and a regular socket ratchet. And mallets and a hammer I think you'll need. Oh, and also you're going to need a really good impact wrench. And I have an impact wrench set, if I can get it open. I have an impact wrench, but actually mine was a little big. I have the larger kind, so I wasn't able to fit it in a lot of the tight areas. So I really had to rely on some muscle and maneuvering and everything. But you want to make sure you have that so you can do the job by yourself. So just make sure you check and get the right tools and what you need. Okay. So if you want to look at more of how tough the job was, just look at my last video I made. I think I did that in the process. I want to show you on the back as well of how installing the back actually worked. Let's see if I can get up under here. All right, hopefully you guys can see that. So on the back, you've got one bolt there on the cradle, and then you have a bolt up here on the cradle. So just two bolts to take off. And when you take these off, there's a lot of torque and a lot of, so that's where the impact wrench is going to come in. So you want to make sure you take those two bolts off. And the hardest time that I had was with putting this cradle back up. So once you take those two bolts out and lower the cradle here, then you can get your spring out. The springs on the back are not on the struts, so you don't have to bother with the struts. So once you lower this cradle, the spring comes out, and then you put the new one in, and then the hardest time you're going to have is putting this cradle back, because it wants to go back in at an angle, which is how it's supposed to go. And you have to balance and level that out with a jack and a pry bar, and make sure you get those holes lined up to get your bolts back in. So that was the toughest time I had with the back. So that's what, so just be prepared for that, those little tweaks and quirks when you're putting it back. So I think it turned out really, really nice. I think I like that squat in the back. Very nice squat there. And I think my look is complete. And you know, just very, very nice. It rides great. I went and as soon as I got it, was able to drive it after I installed it. Went and found some speed bumps. Went over a lot of speed bumps to see how it rode. No problems going over speed bumps. I didn't try to go up any steep driveways. I figured I would just try to avoid those. Going up steep driveways and coming down steep driveways. If you do, then you might want to back down and back up the driveway. So I'm not going to chance it. I'm going to avoid those types of situations. And like I said, you know, no problems with the speed bumps. I am going to have to be aware of parking curbs, you know, the little blocks that they put in parking spaces. This definitely will scrape them. Regular curbs when you're pulling in, you know, I'm not going to be able to pull all the way up on those. So those are the kinds of things I'm going to have to be mindful of. I can still get the car up on my Rhino ramps at home whenever I have to do oil changes, so I'm not worried about that. I took it out on the highway and got it up to speed. Rides really nice. I mean, it sits lower. The handling is stiffer. Just a really, really much more sporty ride. I found out, like I said, they've been on for about 3 weeks now. I think it's settled. I don't know if it's going to settle anymore, but it's settled to right to where right now it's right where I want it. I mean, I just can't stop looking at it. So, yeah. So you definitely feel some bumps in the road. It's not bouncy. It hugs the ground, which is what I wanted. It just feels amazing. Feels great. Now when you do your install of these springs, you want to be concerned about your alignment, and that was one of the concerns I had. One of the guy I mentioned before, Paul with Garage Driven, he said that some of the cars that he changed springs on needed an adjustable upper control arm after the install, because the camber, it threw off the camber in the front, and they couldn't get the alignment right. A couple of times that they had to go to get the alignment done in the alignment shop, really couldn't get it back on track. So they came up with the solution of the adjustable upper control arms or the camber arm up top. I didn't have to do that, so it's kind of a hit or miss. I didn't have that issue, so I took it to the alignment shop, and no problems at all with the alignment. He said I wasn't off. I really wasn't off that much. So I can show you here the alignment results. So this is the before measurements of the front. So when I took it in after the install of the springs, it was minus 0.9 degrees in the camber, and the caster was 9.7 degrees. And then here's the right rear before the alignment, 1.9, 0.11 degrees. And then you go down here after the measurements of the after it was aligned, 1.8. So not much there at all. Stayed at 9.7, 0.9 instead of 0.11. So all this was green. Here on the left side, not much difference at all. Here is the front, negative 1.6 and negative 1.5. So that was really close. I went off by probably just like a half a degrees. So if you're worried about the alignment, you shouldn't have a problem. So that worked out really good, because that was a big concern of mine, was if the alignment was going to be messed up. So no problems there. But like I said, man, you know, just came out really good. I'm glad I saved myself some money by doing it myself, but it was a fight. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you like it. And I think that's it. Stay tuned for my next video. Probably try to be doing some brakes or and some other things on the car. But as far as the looks, man, I think my look is pretty much where I wanted it, where I dreamed it would be. All right. So if you have any questions, man, about this install and about the springs and how they ride, how they drive, you know, just hit me up in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to rap with you guys. So I hope everybody's doing good. That's going to be all for now, and I'll get at you later. Peace.